Welcome. This is Lunar Living, a weekly conversation of lived astrology and cyclical wisdom that expands our connection with ourselves, each other, and all of life. Wherever you are, let's take a deep breath together and arrive just as we are. We're not here to predict life, we're learning how to grow in rhythm with it.
And each week we'll explore the current astrology, the wisdom of the moon, and the energetic invitations unfolding around us, translating the language of the cosmos into practical guidance that you can actually live. And together we will help you understand not only what is happening in the sky, but why it matters, how it might be showing up in your relationships, your emotions, your body, and your everyday life.
We'll share our own experience and learn how to embody the wisdom moving through us now, because transformation doesn't happen just through information. It requires our engagement. I'm Cholena, founder of Satmam and Lunar Living. For decades, I've explored what it means to live in rhythm with my own body, with the moon, with nature, and with others. I weave cyclical wisdom and embodied practices with relational awareness so we can remember our wholeness and expand our capacity for meaningful connection.
And I'm Elayni, astrologer healer and intuitive coach. And I love translating the wisdom of astrology into grounded, practical insights that help people navigate life with greater clarity, trust, and self-awareness. And together we will explore the gifts, the challenges, and the invitations held with each week's cosmic landscape, making the heavens feel personal, accessible, and deeply supportive. We're so grateful that you're here.
Welcome to Lunar Living. Welcome. Welcome to the astrology for the week of August 3rd through the 9th. We're going to start the week with the moon in Aries and then Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer. So we're just moving from a very, very powerful transformational week with the full moon in Aquarius. And it doesn't really seem like the astrology is getting simpler. And I just want to like, for me, it feels like, oh, we keep coming in, oh, this powerful thing, and then that powerful thing. And this isn't everyday astrology. The astrology that we're experiencing nowadays is much more potent than what we experienced even a decade ago. So I just want to bring that in a little bit. I'm here to kind of help set the lunar pulse and what that brings in. And Elayni is going to bring in all the other aspects that are going to come in and grace us this week. So, we're here to learn what energies are at hand and what they're here to evolve within us. So thank you so much, Elayni. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you again this morning.
Thank you.
So the week of August 3 through 9. We start Monday and Tuesday with the moon in Aries. Aries governs the head, the teeth, the tongue. And I'm like, I can't even read this other word that I wrote. Oh, and the arteries. What else is going on Monday and Tuesday? I think you were talking about Chiron going retrograde. And
Yeah.
uh,
So on the 3rd of August, we will have Chiron stationing retrograde. So Chiron entered Taurus on the 19th of June, and it's been sitting at that 0 degree mark ever since then. It's starting to go retrograde on the 3rd of August, and it's going to regress back into Aries, where it will turn direct, meaning it will move forward again, only in January 2027. So for the remainder of the year, essentially, Chiron will slowly move out from Taurus back into Aries. At the very sort of last degrees, it will turn direct at 26 degrees of Aries. So the last 5 degrees, as well as the first 5 degrees of any sign is always sort of either a new beginning or a completion. And so anything around Aries related themes pertaining to Chiron, wounding, anything that we didn't process when Chiron was in Aries, we have an opportunity for the rest of the year to work through those last few remaining issues, emotions, wounds, triggers, beliefs, and systems, so that once Chiron is in Taurus, we have a more embodied approach, going forward. So when we look back at this, so the 19th of June, so that would be maybe a month and a half now, that sort of Chiron has been in Taurus, and it's just touched on that 0 degree. So it's given us a little bit of like a preview, if you will. It's given us a bit of a taster of the kind of healing and the things that we need to do around self-worth, security, money, our values, personal values, as well as our bodies. That may unfold for us more fully as from April 2027. Okay. But for now, we are revisiting some of those Aries lessons of identity and courage before we can really build, I would say, lasting inner security. So that happens on Monday. So what I really do want to invite everyone. Sorry.
Thank you.
No, I wanted.
Neither of us are actually sorry. I just want to bring
how
in
I
that.
love Zoom. It's like we're just going for it.
The revisit of Aries means like the personal space, readdressing any last personal wounds so that we can bring our whole magic to the collective and to this next grounded, embodied phase of life. So anything we missed personally, this is like really exciting opportunity to just finish up that little bit of healing, that last little straggler, that little piece of self-worth, that bit of vitality that just got left behind a little bit. This is the time for that.
Yeah, exactly. What I wanted to say is I really wanted to just kind of invite everybody to notice what's been happening over the last month and a half. So where have you been noticing that certain behaviors from other people, situations, circumstances that you would have tolerated quite well before has somehow become almost intolerable? Like it's become so like in your system, it just feels so like, oh my God, I can't deal with this anymore. That is going to be a really good place to look at where you are, where Chiron is kind of pushing on your buttons just a little bit to show you where are you not respecting yourself, where are you not valuing yourself, where are you not, where are you not feeling worthy. Remember that there's a difference between feeling worthy and valuing something, right? Like I might feel worthy of money, but I might not value money. So that is something that I just want to kind of highlight for people as well. So when it comes to self-worth and self-value, these are two completely separate things. So look at the difference between the two. But I'll give you a very quick and very brief example. Somebody is in your house living with you, a family member, a parent, a partner, a child, it doesn't matter. And they keep, throwing their socks on the floor next to the washing bin or like the laundry basket or whatever it is, right? And for years you've been having this conversation like, oh my gosh, please just pick up your socks and just put it in the basket. Like, what is the problem with this? But you've somehow managed to kind of just tolerate that, and you haven't, like, yeah, you've spoken about it, you've said, hey, please don't do that. Like, that's really annoying. Like, you've had the conversations, you've done the things, but lately that same behavior from this person has become so it's almost like you want to just, you can't contain that anymore because the level that it's reached is, this is a sign of disrespect for your nervous system. And Chiron is kind of pushing on that button or that little wound a little bit to say, how much longer are you going to tolerate this behavior before you change your behavior to the situation? Is this
Mhm.
really how you want to live? Do you value yourself enough to say something, do something, change this? Do you, like, is there something within your sense of self-worth that needs to shift and say, I don't deserve this kind of inconsistent behavior? So something over the last month and a half has sort of surfaced for you around what you will tolerate and what you won't tolerate, and how this has kind of brought stuff up within your system where the people outside of you have been pushing on your buttons and you're almost becoming like, I can't do this anymore. That's the area and that's the thing that you want to look at, because that's going to show you where you are not respecting yourself, your choices, your values, all of that stuff. The same thing, it could be around money, it could be around your self-worth, your value. If your values are aligned in alignment with other people, it could be, pertaining to any Taurian theme, to be completely honest. So noticing these things and just kind of looking at it from that perspective, would be very good. So yes, that is what I would recommend. Um,
I just wanted to add to that that when we're feeling it heavily in our nervous system, in our body, whether that's through agitation and the up leveling of energy, or it's through restriction and compression, when we realign ourselves and we take one simple action to release that and reclaim our natural trajectory over that thing, then the body can soften. However, we have to stay on that path for the body to continue to soften and relax and come back into safety space. So, our body is noticing where we are even before our mind does. And we have to consciously take the wisdom from the body. This isn't aligned. This isn't working for me. I've spoken to it. My words are not being received or heeded. So, what is my boundary with it? Now, what do I expect the other people to keep doing, or how do I keep, what different words do I want to use? What new action do I take to step away from that and into something with more alignment? And my body, when I take that action, my body will notice.
hmm.
So we can communicate with our bodies in both directions that way.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we know that we're staying on track because our bodies will stay softer and more present with it.
Yeah, 100%. And I also just wanted to mention, that whilst you're talking about that, it's a really good point, because I can feel in the energy that some people are going to use this as an excuse to bypass the experience. So again, when you calm your body, when you regulate, all these things, like Kalina just gave like really good advice. Um, but you can't avoid the truth. You can't avoid what your body is telling you. And so, yeah, you can regulate your nervous system. Yes, you can take a different action. Yes, you can step away from the conversation. Yes, you can go, and take a breath somewhere else or self medicate or whatever it is. You can do all these different ways to get yourself calm so that you can then, decide on what you want to do, what the action is, all those kinds of things. But if you don't actually deal with the core issue at hand and you just keep bypassing this by just distracting yourself with different ways and calling it nervous system regulation, then you're not actually getting the message. So I just wanted to bring this in so that people can just kind of realize that it's good to have practices and tools to help us come back to center, but we're still asked to take different actions. You can't avoid the action. Okay.
Because we can regulate ourselves and regulate ourselves into much deeper dysregulation. And I did that personally for a very long time until I kind of got to the point where I had to create boundaries. And in creating those boundaries, my body started to trust me again more. So if your body is really speaking, it's time for boundaries.
Mm,
It's time to tend to your body.
yeah,
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool.
Very good. So that would be Chiron and Taurus, noticing the themes, looking at everything that we've just spoken about. And then again, like Kholena said before, it gives us this opportunity to, now that with Chiron moving out and back into Aries, again, we have this really cool opportunity to kind of just become aware of perhaps, maybe a little bit of old wounds, around our identity and who we are and, what am I, who am I, what's my purpose? Like, these kinds of things, it may come up again, right? We might be able to kind of see like, oh, this is an area that I haven't dealt with fully, or this is a place within me that I haven't really given full, receptivity to. So we may have I feel like another layer of the onion situation where, oh, that old thing is coming back around again, but it's to show you that there's still a part there that needs to be worked with. We also have the moon conjunct Saturn in Aries on that same day, on Monday. So there's kind of like a bit of emotional responsibility that needs to also take place on that day so that we don't just react from a place of impulsivity, but rather that we make, if our emotions are involved, we can actually be more grounded, more present, and more responsible with our emotional reactions. And we're not just projecting stuff onto other people. It's also a really good day for reflection rather than forced action. So rather take the day to slow down so that everything that's sort of been happening can catch up with you. And then you can kind of sit with it and then you can start to reflect on it. And based on that, and you understand the responsibility of emotions that may come through for you, that's when you can then start to take action and put different things into place. But it's not a once off, like this kind of energy is not necessarily something that's just Monday and that's it, and then we move on to the next thing. These energies stay with us for a couple of days, even for a couple of weeks. It might even be months, depending on what these aspects and what these planets are doing with your own personal birth chart. So just notice that, these things and themes that we're speaking about, it might be something that you're already feeling. It's something that you may only feel a couple of days afterwards. So just because it doesn't necessarily resonate with you immediately, that's why we suggest reflection, because at the end of the week, when you sit back and you look back over your week, or at the end of the day, or whatever the case is, you can kind of keep track and you can go, oh, okay, yeah, that thing that Elayni spoke about, or yeah, that thing that Cholena spoke about came up for me in this way. And then you can have the insight so that you can then take those nuggets of wisdom and you can start to put action into place and change things and, move through life with more awareness and just more conscious practice. So yeah. Okay. Tuesday. Tuesday, we have a sextile between the moon and Mars in Gemini. So the moon will be in Aries and Mars is in Gemini, and there's a sextile there, which is a harmonious aspect. And then Mars will square Venus in Virgo. So it's a day where we are asked to maybe act with a little bit more intention. We can feel very courageous, we can feel very inspired, we can feel very motivated. Our relationships and our personal desires, there may be a little bit of like, again, like a bit of a, there can be the desire that I have within and for myself and the desire that, I have for my relationships and the people around me, they're not aligned. There's some conflict there. So this is going to show us where, these sort of internal and external desires that we may have are in conflict, and then we get to balance that. We get to kind of sit with that a little bit. We can start to make smart choices where we actually take action and do things from a place of intention, not just frustration and impulsivity. So we actually get to balance action with a little bit more patience, if you will. So Tuesday is sort of a day where it's good to take action on things, but know the reason why you're doing the things that you're doing. Be very clear on your goals that day, your choices that day, your reactions that day, and know that, there may be some incoherence between what you want and what you want from yourself and for yourself, and what you want from other people and what other people also want from you. So there may be some, sort of like conflicting energies on that day, but it's one of those things. It's just kind of part of life. So you get to work with it in a different way, but just becoming aware of it will already help to shift things for you. So yeah, Cholena, do you want to share anything there?
Tuesday is already ruled by Mars, so it's a good action day anyway. And then with this aspect and the moon being in Aries, it's very personal. So, making sure we're not charging forth to take what we need over to and tromping on others on our way to receive what we need.
Hmm.
So factoring in a little bit of what, is good for one is kind of good for all. So, the real solution for us is not going to interfere with somebody else, but we also won't be willing to give way for our own needs in order to accommodate somebody else.
Yeah,
So, well, right, finding that balance so we can support both. So, um, authentic action with integrity.
yeah. All right, perfect. So Wednesday, we have a kite. So a kite basically means that there are four planets. Three planets are at the top and one planet is at the bottom, and it forms a kite formation. So the two planets that are holding the edges of the kite, or they're sort of, holding, you can also look at it as a bow and arrow. So they're kind of holding the bow. That would be Pluto and Uranus. So it's transformation and awakening. So they are holding this tension, the space, if you will, for the opposition between Neptune and Venus. So Venus is the one that's sort of pulling back the string. Neptune is the tip of the arrow. Venus is the back, and she's sort of, all the force. Oh, I don't know, is here. And then, you've got Pluto and Uranus kind of holding this tension. So if Venus lets go, things moves forward, right? And then, or at least if you look at it from a different perspective, if Venus lets go, she meets Neptune full on. And so Venus is the lower expression of Neptune. So the two planets that are holding this angle is saying, okay, Venus, Neptune, you're both associated with love, peace, grace, beauty, magic, like all the beautiful things in life. And then there's also the other side of the coin, right? Where it's like, okay, am I being self-centered? Am I being selfish? Am I being too materialistic? Am I giving into all of my illusions and my lies and, all these kinds of things? So the shadow expression of these two planets, and then Uranus and Pluto are kind of saying to them, okay, well, we've got you. We're going to hold it for you so that you can bring in the awakening that you need, the transformation that you need, the disruption that you need in order to have these unexpected breakthroughs become possible for you. Because when we have a kite, it's a really beautiful and harmonious aspect. So it's really like through grace, we can create transformation. And small shifts on that day can create lasting momentum. So it's a day where we're being asked to step out of, let's say, conditional love into unconditional love. So awakening to a higher, expression of beauty and love and connection. And it's sort of asking, and with that, that's why I say there is a bit of, tension there as well. Like there's a lot of sort of like that tension there, but it's again, Uranus and Pluto are asking and showing you like, okay, where are you stuck in the wounds within your relationships? Where are you not loving yourself? Where are you not, opening up to your higher perspectives? Can you activate your higher heart energy center? Can you work with a higher sense of awareness? Are you stuck in the everything has to be fair and equal? Otherwise, that's because that's what love is, and that's the human condition of love. Or is it no? There's universal love. We can love everybody despite their flaws. Or behaviors or habits or ways of hurting us. So it's more like asking us to open up our hearts, to step into a more transformative way of loving and accepting and creating connection. Um, Knowing that on that day, whatever we do and whatever choices we make through grace and compassion and love and forgiveness and, just opening up our perspectives a little bit, we can create lasting momentum. So, yeah, there's a lot of transformation that can occur on that day if we work with it consciously. So, yeah, anything you want to share there?
The only thing dropping in is like that we're in a waning moon for this whole week. So the overall theme is release. So, you know, what restriction in my heart, what judgment in my heart is keeping me from being able to be totally open-hearted and accept who people are, even when I totally disagree with them. Little things like that. So just look for that thing that's limiting you that just wants to go, that just doesn't want to live inside you anymore, but you're just clinging to it a little bit. So it's causing it to stay. So
Yeah,
that's what's coming through.
yeah. And remember that the whole purpose of this is also to just kind of remind you that we're all different. We all have problems, we all have wounds, we all have shitty childhood memories, we've all undergone some kind of trauma, like, and we're all here having our own unique experience, and we're just trying the best to do the best that we can and coexist. And so if we keep expecting other people to show up for us in ways that are not within their capacity, or if we keep, putting our expectations outside of ourselves, expecting other people to fill void places within ourselves, it's going to create unnecessary conflict. So it's about realizing and just coming into a space of acceptance, like, okay, we can be in the fifth dimensional consciousness here with unity consciousness instead of separation consciousness where it's a you versus me, and and then an us, and it's like, no, it's we all have this thing called life, and it's moving through each one of us, and really we're just being asked to just be more accepting of one another, and being a little bit more compassionate with each other, and just having and holding a little bit more space for each other through this process and this time that we're in. So yeah,
Yeah. And
Thursday.
it is the differences and owning our differences. That's that is the magic. That's our magic rather than the sameness. So leaving sameness alone and leaning into the appreciation of differences.
Yeah.
Thursday, last quarter moon.
Yeah, so Thursday, Venus will be sitting at 29 degrees of Libra. Oh, sorry, not Libra, Virgo. So she's at the anaretic degree of Virgo, meaning that it's like the last energy of Venus in Virgo before she moves into her home sign. Um, that's really good because we kind of want um, we just want to look at the places that we've kind of gone through this last month where we're on the theme of Venus, because on Thursday, what is the date? 6th? The 6th. Venus will enter Libra. So she's going to move out of that anaretic degree, out of that 29th degree of Virgo, and she's going to finally move into her home sign. So anything that's come up for us around love this month, or connection, or value, or um, any Venusian kind of themes, if you will, where it's been hard or critical or judgmental or perfectionistic, or just unrealistic in general. The Thursday, kind of Friday, when Venus moves into Libra, she's in her domicile. So now we get to kind of just go, oh, okay, those last little niggly bits and parts and experiences, those little, intensity, critical crisis degrees, something may happen on that day that just kind of closes and seals that a little bit. So it could be great. It could be a bit yucky. It just depends on, what your experience would be and what you have been going through. But what I'm happy about is that when Venus moves back into Libra, harmony returns. It's like, oh, thank goodness. right? So our relationships become more balanced. Beauty, diplomacy, and cooperation become easier. Um, Socializing becomes easier. It's a time where we get to reconnect with our people, with our groups, our friends, our communities. You know, there's a time sort of like peace becomes a little bit more easy to manage and maintain. We're less aggressive, we're less aggro, we're less agitated, we're less critical, we're less domineering, we're less um, focused on all the tiny little things that are going wrong. And so it's a really good day to just take a breath. Like, oh, yay, okay, Thursday, I can focus on great. I can things feel lighter. I can bring in a little bit more peace within my body, within my community. I can go out, I can have fun, I can socialize, I can meet new people. If for any reason, you've been working with legal work or paperwork or contracts or partnerships even, um, this is a really good time where justice will be served, right? So if there was anything done to you, or that you were struggling with paperwork or contracts or legal systems and things were feeling stuck, or it wasn't moving forward, now with Venus in Virgo, in Libra, um, those things start to lighten up, things start to move forward, new partnerships come in, like legal matters can be restored and resolved. Any place or person or something that may have had ill intention, or some kind of like bad stuff happening, for example, where people were just nasty and mean and unfortunately very ugly to you, like this is Venus in her home sign in Libra. It's kind of like, yeah, no, karma will be restored. You're always kind of able, that cause and effect will kick in as well. So you might find that things that you were struggling with and having challenges with, and people also that were just being unnecessarily difficult to work with or hard on you or mean or whatever that may be, that starts to shift, and you actually start to receive more support. Receive more balance, you receive more love, there's more connection. You want to maybe even feel inspired to upgrade your home a little bit, bring in some beautiful colors and flowers and these kinds of things. So on Thursday, that's what I would recommend. I would recommend, if like you did anything this whole week on Thursday, go into your Venusian essence, right? Like bring some beauty into your home. Venus is also connected to, material beauty and Taurus and all that kind of stuff as well. So like go out, go for a cocktail with your friends, go do something luxurious and abundant and rich, like bring beauty into your home. Maybe you want to get new clothes. Maybe it's a good day to go shopping. Maybe it's a good day to have a beautiful shower, go for a massage. Like bring new plants or flowers or like nice food. Or if you're single, like maybe instead of just having your dinner in front of the television, like maybe set a table, make a mood, like take yourself on a date. Like maybe you want to, if you're in a partnership or whatever, it would be a good day to go out and do something nice as a couple, and to bring back a little bit of that kind of connection and that love energy. And so there's a really, we can just bring in more of that love, because the kite formation that's happening on Wednesday, it's not just like Wednesday and then it's done. It's like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, kind of, as it continues. And then eventually when Venus, I think, gets to like six degrees or something, then the kite kind of starts to shift and break apart. But so that Venus opposite Neptune energy, is still there, and that Pluto and, Uranus energy is still there. And so it's like, just really allow yourself to just give and be in your Aphrodite energy on Thursday, and do something where you're just in luxury, in pleasure, enjoy yourself, do spoil yourself a little bit that day. So yeah, that's Thursday.
Using the last quarter moon in Taurus connection with Venus to release any tension and self-judgment, and lean into that grounded beauty. Thank you for that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and with the moon also being in Taurus, that's again like the moon is exalted in Taurus. So it's like a day of beauty and luxury and grace and opulence, and like just give love and be in your body, be in your senses, like eat the fucking chocolate, right? Like drink the wine, like don't, limit yourself on that day. Like really just be in that expression of wow, I just get to do beautiful things for myself. It could be listening to music. Doesn't just have to be body based, right? Like food or whatever, but it can be like I'm going to take myself out on a date. I'm going to go and listen to beautiful music. I'm going to go and watch a concert in the park. I'm going to, go for a beautiful sunset walk. I'm going to have, Prosecco with my best friend, and I'm going to have a bottle. I'm not going to have a glass, right? Because I'm allowed to. And so, like, it's just that kind of energy. So it's really nice. So, yeah. Okay, Friday. Friday, we have a grand Air trine between Venus, Pluto, and Uranus. So the elements of air that day will be strong, and it's going to last basically the whole weekend. So air is about information, communication, speaking, thinking, assimilating. It's quick, it's witty, it's fast, and it's fluid. So yes, we may get a bit distracted. Yes, we may be a little bit, like over here and then over there and then up and then down, and we may be very curious. But there's flow between Venus, Pluto, and Uranus. Again, Venus, the planet of love, justice, equality, peace. Pluto, transformation, rebirth. Uranus, awakening, rebellion, and also truth. So fresh perspectives may come in that day. It's a good day for learning or teaching or networking again. We can help, this energy can help us to dissolve and detach from old problems and limiting beliefs and things that we've not maybe had answers for, where we've been like, oh, how am I going to do this thing? I don't know how I'm going to do this thing. Like I've been sitting with it and I've been looking at solutions and like I'm trying to figure out how to do this and I just have not found the right answer. And then boom, that thing kicks in on Friday and you're like, oh, that's it. That's how I can do this. That's amazing. And so like that kind of stuff can happen on Friday, the whole weekend really. Um, because again, like the trine doesn't just, it's not just one day, but it activates on Friday. Um, so it's really just a case of letting, Pluto and Uranus bring in transformation and awakening and insights and inspiration to the part of you that is seeking balance and harmony and like connection and justice and peace and beauty and all of these different things. um so sorry, I'm just feeling something quickly. Be careful not to overanalyze things on that day either, because the answers will come, but there may be confusion because there's so much information that's coming at you, like, and it's not like coming at you from like social media or like it's more like internal to your system. It's like you're getting downloads and things, and you're having all these ideas and you don't know where to put that energy. um so just be mindful of that also, that that day and that weekend and stuff like that. um and again, like with Venus being in Libra, you can do a lot of good healing around relationships, transforming relationships, bringing more, and with Uranus and Gemini, it's about communication. Like more truths can be spoken. You can speak your truth. You can have the difficult conversations because everything there is helping you say, okay, I am ready to transform this thing. I'm ready to step into my truth. I'm ready to step into my higher awakening. I'm ready to step into my higher consciousness, whatever that may be. So that's kind of the energy for Friday. So yeah. Cholena, do you want to add anything there?
Gemini, shoulders, arms, hands, and lungs. So just be intentional with what you touch. You can come back to your breath. It's a great time to come back to our breath when the mind takes over, especially. So
Yeah.
that's a really good tool for that day.
Yeah. Perfect.
Um, yeah, that's all.
Okay, good. Um, okay. So where are we? Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah, all right. So on Saturday we have a T square between Neptune in Aries, Venus in Libra, and Mars in Gemini. So Neptune and Venus are putting pressure on Mars. So it's the heart versus the mind, the warrior. You know, it's like Mars is the part of us that it's like like I don't know, Mars kind of like it's conflict, right? It's energy. It wants to, you know, do things and kind of go to war, and it doesn't like sitting still, and it's like it's very combative in a way. And so the higher heart Neptune, and then, you know, the heart like Venus, and like these two planets of love and acceptance and beauty and woo and magic, and, you know, like all the lovely things, is like putting pressure on Mars in a way, almost to go, okay, like, you know, can you kind of step outside of creating unnecessary conflict? Can you um, watch your assumptions? Can you stop with the mixed signals? Can you choose honesty, honest action also over people pleasing? You know, and Mars is going to push back as well in a way, you know. So it's just when Neptune and Venus are sitting on top of Mars and putting pressure on Mars, it's like because it's in Gemini, also it's got to do with our way of speaking and listening and communicating. And if our Mars is too active and we're not listening, we're not paying attention, we're not actually hearing what the other person is saying, you know, we've got all these ideas and we just want to like fight with our words, then Neptune and Aries and, you know, Venus and Libra are saying that's not right, that's not fair, that's not good. You know, we're trying to activate a higher sense of compassion, beauty, understanding, peace, sovereignty. And so any places where there has been lying or injustice or imbalance or, you know, just unnecessarily creating conflict, there will be some tension there where we can kind of come back and just go, okay, where am I too much in my mind? Where am I responding from my ego? How am I, you know, where am I not listening? Am I too impatient? Am I not slowing down? Am I not, you know, present with people? Am I just scattered all over the place? Like, okay, where do I need to steady? Where do I need to listen to my heart? How can I bring more love into my relationships? How can I use that affirmative, fiery energy of Mars to bring in higher love and higher compassion and just a sense of like self-respect and within myself and for the other people as well. So just being mindful, like, you know, watch your assumptions that day. Don't just assume that people are like this and now I've got to like do that or whatever it is. Like, so just be also, don't people please. Like, we're done. Be honest, but be respectful. Be honest, but tap into that Venus, right? Like, we can be honest, we can speak honestly, we can do honestly, we can act honestly, um, without assumptions and without just assuming like stories from other people and, you know, things that we can concoct in our heads. And if we don't have actual evidence for that, then yeah, it's going to blow up. So just take a pause. Is this real? Am I assuming? Double check things, slow it down a notch, be strategic before you just, you know, bombard everybody with your thoughts or your opinions, and it doesn't actually hold merit or it doesn't hold truth. So, yeah, just be careful also of superficiality on that day. So, yes. All right. Anything that you would like to share there?
Yeah, and there's a huge gift in staying present in the challenges that come forth and not just trying to unload them on other people. So the alchemy is in staying present through the challenge, not handing it off, just grounding it, grounding it. Remember, we're in release mode this week as well. There's a lot of stuff that can just be let go of. So, what do we really want to fight? Or what do we just want to implement into our lives? By fighting something, we invite that energy back into our lives. By implementing something new, we forget that energy and we're co-creating in our new energy, in a new destiny, in a new energy. So you know, there's forgiveness and realignment that can happen here, if we stay present in the challenge instead of disassociating, running away from it, projecting it onto other people.
Yeah, exactly.
And also just putting your boundaries, setting your boundaries firmly without fighting over them,
Mm.
letting them be valid without explanation is
Yeah.
coming.
And also listen. Please just listen.
Mm, yeah.
Like,
Like take extra effort to listen to yourself and to others.
yeah, and
And
what's really
maybe
being
just know.
said versus listening to somebody and then going, "Oh, you're projecting stuff on me again," and la 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 la. Like, no, 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 no. Just pay attention to what is actually being said and what is really being shared. Like, listening is a gift. It's a skill
Yeah.
set.
Beyond what the ego wants to take of it. What is this person actually trying to communicate with their whole heart, even if it's coming across in a way that feels kind of aggressive? What is their actual message? Not
Yeah,
just like, oh, it feels aggressive, so let me reject it as a way to just say, stay safe. What can I listen to the message anyway?
yeah,
And then decide, if that tone of voice or the way that's communicated is for you or not, but what's the message?
yeah.
Thank you.
And that's where
Yeah.
you need to be careful of assumptions as well, where you don't just, assume that this person is saying something and then, you put your own wounds and your own stories and your own shit on top of it. And then you're actually not listening. And if you're not clear on what that person's intentions are or why they're telling you these things or why this conversation is happening, you can just simply be very honest and say, I need you to explain to me what it is that you're meaning right now. I want to understand, but you're going to have to give me more because I don't know what I don't want to put my assumptions onto what you're saying right now. So I need you to explain this to me so that there's clarity there. Okay. Sunday, 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 Sunday. So on Sunday, Mercury enters Leo. So thank God. I like, sorry, I have my Mercury in air. So I think fast, I talk fast. I'm very good at assimilating information. I'm very good at reading systems and patterns and all these kinds of things. So I like it when it's in fire because there's more, like it works really well with how my mind naturally operates. When it's in water, it can feel a bit murky. It can be a bit like, for me, for my body and for my way of spirit, for other people, it can feel horrendous. For, like for other people, Mercury in a water sign is beautiful. Um, but for me, I'm like, oh yay, we've got some fire, and listen, we know by now that there's really positive expressions of this energy and there's really not so positive expressions of this energy. So when our mind, our speaking, our listening, our information, our curiosity um, goes into the sign of Leo, we know that it can go two ways, right? It can either become really supportive and heartfelt and beautiful, or it can become very egoical and very prideful and very boasting and, like very braggy and all that kind of stuff. So just notice what's happening within your own system. Um, when Mercury is in Leo and how that has an impact on your way of thinking, speaking, hearing, listening, communicating. Um, but what I do find really nice about this energy is that our minds become more passionate, meaning that we're more inspired, we're more driven to like just really do stuff and take action on things, and we're excited to create something and to put our attention and our focus and our energy into new ideas and new inspirations, and like we're not procrastinating on stuff, we're not sitting on it, we're not just thinking about it, but we're actually feeling inspired, and then we have the mental capacity to do the things and take action on the things that really mean something to us. And Mercury will also be in opposition to Pluto in Aquarius, so our conversations become more powerful. Our words hold more truth. Um, our words can be very inspirational and also very transformative. Um, it can we can use the power of our mind to awaken our unique, authentic, creative expression, our passion, our fire, our drive, our creativity, our desire. And we can call on that Plutonian energy to bring in transformation. So if we have been stuck on words or feeling shy or not, knowing what we want to do, or we've been feeling a little bit brain foggy or just kind of stuck in our thoughts and we haven't really been able to take much action on things or decide the direction that we want to go in, now that kind of starts to shift and we have more clarity, we've got more excitement, and we can, if we're conscious of it, just be mindful, avoiding power struggles or trying to prove a point because we need to feed our ego. Be careful of that, okay? That's a real thing. It can happen. Sorry. Especially in Leo, especially with Pluto. Also be very careful that people, maybe not people so much, but maybe that you yourself don't start, exaggerating on your stories. Because when Mercury enters Leo, there can be an exaggeration because Jupiter is also there, right? So remember that, like, Mercury is going to be there, he's going to meet Jupiter. And so our words can become exaggerated, our reactions can become exaggerated, our expressions can become very dramatic. We all know someone in our lives that's like just over the top dramatic, and you kind of just sit there and you're like, oh my Lord. We all have that auntie or that cousin or that friend or that whatever, the drama queen. We know them, right? So that's how you can express your energy if you're not aware of it. So it's really like, remember, Leo is very heart-based and very heart-centered consciousness as well. And so, like, it's beautiful to work with. I love the fact that, Mercury gets to move in this playful realm, especially with Jupiter there. The sun is also there still. I think it's great. So I would just advise, like, just, keep a keep yourself in check every now and again. If you find yourself, just like arguing for the sake of arguing, or, trying to just prove a point because, your ego is wounded and you don't want to be wrong. And, you're like, you want to be seen as like this big, I don't know, like, look at me, look at me, look at me, like that kind of energy. And your stories become exaggerated, and somebody will say, oh my gosh, I caught a fish. And you go, well, I caught a fish this big, that exaggerated like competition and stuff like that. So if you notice these things within yourself, just check it, come back to your
Right.
space and go, hey, I don't need to live from that place.
Remember to stay in the moment. It's about this fish right now, not the bigger fish 2 weeks ago. It's about this fish right now.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
moon is going to be in Cancer. So there's a connection to emotion and nourishment. However, don't use emotions to validate your ego or claim victimhood.
yeah, exactly. Beautiful. So that's it for this week's astrology. I just want to give a quick little summary for the week so that we can just kind of take a moment. So the overall energy of this week, I would say, is asking us to pause and reflect a little bit before pushing forward, right? So Chiron stationing retrograde reminds us that, healing, true healing, isn't about rushing towards the finish line or the future or that healthier place, but it's about integration, right? It's about integrating what we have already learned from the experience. What is the wisdom there? And a lot of different dynamic aspects also bring a lot of opportunities for growth and for breakthrough this week. We know this. What else did I write here? Just give me a second. I'm trying to just check my notes. Okay, yeah. So again, another thing this week that's helpful is that we actually have an opportunity to balance courage and compassion, truth and diplomacy, action and reflection. So it's a really good week to just kind of bring all of this stuff in. And then by the end of it, obviously, when Mercury moves into Leo, it encourages us to speak from the heart. Pluto reminds us that it has to be authentic, because it is when we speak honestly and openly and from a place of authenticity that power starts to transform for us both internally and also externally. And that actually helps us to transform ourselves, our relationships, our lives. But we have to be honest, we have to be courageous, and we have to do it from a place of heart rather than a place from ego. So that is everything for this week. Yeah.
Yeah. So stay present, stay in your body, make that your focus. Even when those challenging moments come through, instead of quickly finding a way out, stay. Find a way just to stay a little bit longer. You don't have to be perfect, just stay a little longer. Get the gift by staying. Check in with your body. Your body will help you understand what's in alignment and what's not in alignment.
Yeah.
Notice what's
Remember,
soft, what you can lean into,
yeah.
and what feels restrictive.
Yeah.
So the wisdom's already here. We just have to listen.
Yeah, exactly. And this week is big one, like remembering to just be compassionate, like just bringing in a little bit of that. Okay, acceptance, a little bit more acceptance, acceptance for yourself, acceptance for the people around you. And instead of, wanting to like stab someone in the eye, like take a breath, just have a bit of compassion and you'll be fine. This too
This
shall
is the
pass.
perfect way to close.
All
Thank
right.
you so much for being
Thank
here.
you,
We'll
everyone.
see you soon. Please like, share, subscribe, leave us a comment. What is moving through you? How is this serving you? What could we do better for you? How can we serve you? Anything that you like. Thank you very much for being here and have a beautiful week.